Alright, so without a doubt, one of the most popular types of videos in my channel are my ranking videos. And since it's about to be, Christmas, it's about to be New Year's, so for 2021, I figured, you know what? Let's make one more ranking video before Christmas and before the new year begins, just so that I can kind of do a little bit of a throwback of the type of videos that really got me into the YouTube position that I'm in right now. So I figured that would be super exciting. So today we're going to be ranking all of the brand new artifacts for the Kryptonite event from worst to best. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope every single one of you has a happy holidays. Thank you so much for the support this year and all these seasons. I really do appreciate it, guys. I hope everyone has a good day. Stay safe and stay clean, and let's start the video. So in case you guys don't know, there's 10 different brand new artifacts with the Kryptonite event. And from those 10 different artifacts, there's 3 different types of artifacts that give you different bonuses. So every single artifact obviously has their own different effects for what the artifact can do. But because of the brand new Kryptonite event, those artifacts also get bonuses for using them in the Kryptonite event, which is the bonuses are that they give you more attack and more health. But there's 3 different types because some of them give you a lot of health and a lot of attack, some of them give you a medium amount of health and attack, and some of them give you a super low amount of attack and health. So even though they all give you bonuses, some of those bonuses are better than others depending on which artifact you're going to use. So with that being said, starting off the list in 10th place or last place as the worst Kryptonite artifact is going to be the Kryptonite Ring. This one gives you the least amount of attack and health bonuses with only 12,000 attack and only 40,000 health. And on top of that, the buffs for the actual artifact are really not that great. It gives you 25% power generation and 100% chance on specials to disable an opponent's special 3 and their super move for 7.5 seconds. Now, I do like the idea of getting a little bit extra power generation, but keep in mind, this artifact only gives you 25% power generation at level 10. So it's going to take you a very long time to get to level 10, and you're only going to get 25% extra power generation. That seems like a really big hassle for not that big of a reward. And also, keep in mind that the brand new artifact talents do get power generation buffs for the talents. So if you really do just want to get extra power generation, you can go get any other artifact with better buffs and still get that extra power generation. It's not going to be as strong, but the extra buffs for an artifact like the Father Box is going to definitely make up for that, and it's going to give you a lot more, buffs than what you would get with the ring. And on top of that, the 100% chance to be able to lock out the opponent's special 3 and super move with your own special ability, that doesn't really seem that great. I'm assuming that there are going to be some instances where some characters are going to be able to do good with this, like for example Silver Banshee. But at the end of the day, if I really did just want to make my opponent a little bit more crippled, I would have preferred if maybe my artifact made it so that every single one of my special abilities can power drain the opponent. That definitely would have made a lot more sense, and I just don't really understand why I would want to disable my opponent's special 3 and their super move. First of all, most of the time whenever you fight an opponent, especially in solo raids, they're not really going to wait to use their special 3. Most of the time, they use their special 1 and their special 2, and once they use their super move one time, they're not going to use it ever again in the battle. So locking a special 3, that just seems completely useless in my opinion. Anyways, moving on to number 9, as the second worst Kryptonite artifact is going to be the Kryptonite Gloves. This one is also a bottom tier artifact because it gives you the least amount of attack and health bonuses, as it only gives you 12,000 attack and only 40,000 health. And on top of that, the extra bonuses for what the artifact can do are also pretty damn bad. It gives you 25% damage reduction from blocking, and it gives you 75% damage for your basic attack hits. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why I really don't like this artifact, and you can even argue that it's worse than the Kryptonite Ring. So first of all, taking less damage from basic attack hits is really not that big of a deal if you have really good tanks, which is not even that difficult difficult to make, and also we have characters like Nightmare Batman that can completely reflect basic attack damage, which is far better than what this artifact can do. And also, doing a little bit of extra basic attack damage, 75% more damage to be exact, is really not that big of a deal when you already have artifacts like the All Blades and like the Claw of Horus, which can give you even more attack, and that attack is also going to work for your special ability damage, unlike the Kryptonite gloves, which only works for your basics. And as a matter of fact, now that I'm talking about basic attack damage and all of the other artifacts in the game, I'm going to move on to the number 8th spot, which is going to be the Kryptonite knife, because the Kryptonite knife does almost exactly the same thing as the Kryptonite gloves. So first of all, the Kryptonite knife gives you the least amount of attack and health bonuses, just like the Kryptonite gloves. It only gives you 12,000 attack and 40,000 health. And in terms of what the artifact can do, it gives you 35% critical attack chance on basics, and it gives you 100% critical attack damage on basic attack hits, which is why I put the Kryptonite knife over the Kryptonite gloves. The Kryptonite knife gives you a little bit more damage than the Kryptonite gloves on your basic attack hits. But at the end of the day, these artifacts only help you out in your basic attack hits, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of characters out there that do a lot of basic attack damage, but there's far better artifacts than these artifacts in the game. And also, remember, the bonuses they give are super low. So to be honest, even just the bonuses themselves are low enough to bring these artifacts to be some of the worst artifacts in the brand new Kryptonite event. So with that being said, now let's move on to number 7, which is going to be the Kryptonite bullets, which is also the only artifact that I have of the brand new Kryptonite artifacts. And also, this artifact is going to be the last artifact on this list that has the lowest amount of bonuses in the game, which is again 12,000 attack and 40,000 health. So what this artifact does is it gives you a 100% chance to power drain 3 power bars on range attacks, and it gives you 75% special damage against opponents with less than 5 power bars. Now, I do consider this artifact to be a little bit better than the other artifacts we talked about, just because at the very least, it gives you more special ability damage, which is what I think most people want to focus on with characters like, for example, King of Atlantis Aquaman and Silver Banshee. But the biggest downfall towards this artifact is that you only get that extra special ability damage if the opponent has less than 5 power bars, which towards the end of the match, when your power generation is very fast, that can be very difficult unless your opponent is being power drained or they're using a lot of their special abilities. But if they're not doing either of those two things, then it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to keep them below 5 power bars and get that extra damage. Anyways, now moving on to number 6 is going to be the Flashing Blade, which is a medium tier bonus artifact because it's going to give you 20,000 attack and 64,000 health, which is a lot more than all of the other artifacts that we looked at. In terms of what this artifact can do, it gives you a 100% damage boost on basic attack hits for each buff on an opponent, and it gives you heal on hits on all basic attacks for 10 seconds every single time an opponent receives a timed buff. Now, this artifact would have came a lot lower on the list if it wasn't for the fact that this is a medium tier bonus artifact, and the reason why is because this artifact only really works if you apply bonuses to the opponent, and on top of that, whenever you do apply those bonuses, you only get extra basic attack damage and you can only heal on your basics, and there's not that many characters out there that do a lot of basic attack damage and can apply buffs to the opponent. So you would have to use very specific characters for this artifact to be really good, which is just super inconvenient. I would much rather use a better artifact that I could use with any other character and do a lot more damage. Anyways, moving on to the number 5 spot is going to be the METALLO'S Power Source. This one is also a medium tier bonus artifact, giving you 20,000 attack and 64,000 health. And what this artifact can do is it gives you a 100% chance to resist stuns and dots, gaining a power bar when the resist happens, and on top of that, whenever you block an incoming special, 100% of the block damage is accumulated and can be dealt back to an opponent with the next special ability, and that resets every single time you tag in. So there's a couple of reasons why I do like this artifact. First of all, not being able to be stunned or take dot damage is pretty big. There's a lot of characters out there that have hazards whenever you fight them, and there's a lot of characters out there in Arena or in Champions Arena that can stun or do a lot of dot damage. So not having to worry about that at all is really, really nice. And on top of that, again, in Arena and in Champions Arena, there's a lot of characters that could do a lot of special ability damage, and you're going to be able to basically reflect it every single time that you block that special ability and use your own special ability thanks to the second buff on this artifact. Now, also, one more thing I want to say about this artifact, the second buff on the artifact is not going to work that great in solo raids for now, because not a lot of bosses do a lot of damage with their special abilities. But once you start getting into those higher tier, fights in solo raids, your opponents are going to do more damage, which means that you're going to be able to reflect more damage when you take their damage on their specials. So even though this artifact only works in some situations, I still like the artifact, and I feel like when you do get into those situations, the buffs that you get are worth it to use this artifact. Anyways, with that being said, now let's move on to number 4, which is going to be the ASTRO Harness. This artifact is again another medium tier artifact, which gives you 20,000 attack and 64,000 health. And what this artifact can do is, it says, upon wearers or an opponent's tag in, you blast an opponent with an Astro Force beam with 150% of the wearer's attack. And every single time that an opponent gets KO'd by the beam, you do 100% more damage next time. And also, finally, you get 30% damage reduction from basic attack hits. Okay, so the main reason why I put this artifact at number 4, even though it's not going to be that great in raids, is just because this artifact, once you level it to level 10, is going to save you so much time whenever you play Champions Arena or Arena. I know a lot of people don't really care when artifacts work that great in Arena or Champions Arena, but this artifact, if you use it properly, can save you so much time, it's not even funny. I think Sigvald de Grim uploaded a video about him using this in Champions Arena, and he was able to defeat those 8-point battles in just a few seconds. It is absolutely ridiculous, and again, it just saves you so much time. And if you don't agree with me about how good this artifact is, don't worry, I got better artifacts that are better for raids up in the number 3, the number 2, and the number 1 spot. I just really wanted to put the Astro Harness at number 4 just to give it a little bit of credit for being able to help us out in Arena and Champions Arena. Anyways, now moving on to the number 3 spot is going to be the Beta Club. This one is a medium tier artifact. It gives you 20,000 attack and 64,000 health bonuses, and what this artifact can do is it applies dot damage with 500% damage for 15 seconds on swipe attack hits. And the second buff makes it so that the opponent's power generation is slowed by 50% when the dot damage is active. Now, at first glance, this artifact doesn't really seem like that big of a deal. Okay, you get a little bit more damage on swipe attack hits, what's the big deal? But when you really start to see what this artifact can really do if you pick the right characters, it is absolutely insane. Nightmares, and by the way, I watched this gameplay yesterday in my stream, and I was absolutely stunned by the amount of damage this man did. So Nightmares used this artifact against Scarecrow with Batman Ninja Catwoman, and in under a minute, he did about 60 million damage. So to be honest, there's really nothing else to say about this artifact because it is just so good. It's so basic, but if you use it correctly, it is absolutely monstrous. Anyways, now moving on to number 2 is going to be the LEXCORP WARSUIT, which is one of the high tier artifacts with the most amount of bonuses. It gives you 32,000 attack and it gives you 100,000 health bonus. And what this artifact can do is it gives you a 100% chance to armor pierce on all of your special abilities abilities, and successful special abilities activate armor for 15 seconds that increase defense, and activates tenacity that does not allow debuffs to be applied to the wearer. It also gives you 1.5% more damage boost for every 1% of defense on an opponent, and it also gives you an extra 150% health. So to be honest, after reading all of that, you can see very clearly that the LEXCORP WARSUIT can do basically everything. I mean, if you really think about it, with those really high bonuses, again, 32,000 attack and 100,000 health, you're never gonna have to worry about anything. And on top of that, you're gonna get even more damage with armor pierce on all of your special abilities and extra defense and extra health and not being able to take debuffs. That is really insane. This artifact is really good and well-rounded for basically every situation. But with all of that being said, now moving on to the number 1 spot, you guys already know because I talk about this artifact a lot, it's going to be the Kryptonite Spear. So, just like the LEXCORP gear, the Kryptonite Spear is also the top tier most bonus artifact in the game for the Kryptonite event. It's going to give you 30,000 attack and 100,000 health, which again, we already talked about this. That is a lot of health and a lot of attack bonus to really, help you out whenever you're going to use this artifact against any boss. But on top of that, what this artifact does is it makes it so that all special abilities above 20 on the combo meter are going to be unblockable, and they bypass special abilities that block. But the first buff is really just a small bonus for the second and the third buffs, because the second and third buffs are what make this artifact really good. So the second buff says, the maximum number of combo meter hits that affect damage bonuses for specials is increased to 70 hits, which can make you do 150% more damage. And for the third buff, it says upon special usage, you heal up for 0.85% for every single combo meter hit. So what this artifact does is it basically gives you extra bonuses for building up your combo. You're going to be able to do more damage, and you're also going to be able to heal up. And on top of that, you're going to get those insane bonuses for using this artifact in the Kryptonite event. You're going to be doing, dude, think about this, man. You're going to be doing 150% more extra damage, and on top of that, you get an extra 32,000 attack whenever you use this artifact in the event. That is so nuts. Anyways, guys, with that being said, I hope every single one of you has an amazing Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Whatever you guys celebrate, have a good day, man. Happy holidays. Stay safe and stay clean, and I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support, and have a great day.